Hey, welcome to On This Day. Today's date, January 23rd. There are 343 days left in 2020. This is the fourth Thursday of 2020. Today is National Handwriting Day. How do you celebrate? Well, you pick up a pen and you write a note to a friend or family member. I like to handwrite complaints to corporations and give a return address to my old elementary school. It always goes like this: Dear Sir or Ma'am, I think your product sucks, and when I get out of the hospital, I'm stomping someone's ass. Yours truly, Sister Margaret Mary, St. James Parish, Redondo Beach, California. Besides signing letters as a nun, I like to read about things that happened in history. Now, I make videos about what I read. So let's see what I learned today on January 23rd. 1789, Georgetown College is founded. The first Catholic university in the United States is founded on January 23rd by Bishop John Carroll in Georgetown, Maryland. It is now called Georgetown University, and it's a private research university in the Georgetown neighborhood of Washington, D.C. Washington, D.C. was part of Maryland back in the day. Former U.S. President Bill Clinton is a 1968 graduate of Georgetown School of Foreign Services. Other alumni include the late Supreme Court Justice Scalia, comedian Jim Gaffigan, and the voice of everyone's favorite trash panda, Bradley Cooper. There's a whole bunch more, but none as exciting as those. 1943, World War II. Troops of the British 8th Army capture Tripoli in Libya from the German-Italian Panzer Army, basically Rommel's army. This was the beginning of the end for the German General Rommel. He had one more battlefield win in February of 1943, so after all that, he returned to Germany to explain the situation in Africa to Hitler. I guess Hitler wasn't big on taking advice from the people he kind of put in place to give him advice, and he didn't pull his army out of Africa. The Axis forces surrendered in Tunisia on 13 May 1943. 1957, American inventor Walter Frederick Morris sells the rights to his flying disc to the toy company Wham-O, which later renames it Frisbee. Interesting story about that toy. Mr. Morris invented it and had a plastic molding company press a bunch that he sold at fairs and beaches around California. Originally, he called it the Whirl Away and then the Flying Saucer. He changed it, and after a few more design changes, he renamed it the Pluto Platter, which has got to be the worst name for any toy ever. Soon after that, the toy company Wham-O, when they bought the rights, they started producing the Pluto Platter, and then they found out college kids were actually calling it the Frisbee, which was the name of a pie company that, they started throwing the pie tins around just like the Frisbee, so they started calling the plastic toy a Frisbee, and then Wham-O just changed the name to Frisbee. Really interesting. 1973, United States President Richard Nixon announces that a peace accord has been reached in Vietnam, thus bringing one of the darkest periods in American history to an end. I was of the age where I had a lot of friends who lost their dads in Vietnam and stuff like that. That was really sad. I had a lot of friends that didn't have dads anymore. Anyway, moving on. 1997, Madeleine Albright becomes the first woman to serve as the United States Secretary of State, which I can't believe it took him that long to do it. 1997? That's crazy. 2002, U.S. journalist Daniel Pearl is kidnapped in Karachi, Pakistan, and subsequently murdered and videotaped. That was horrible. That got all over the internet. I didn't watch it. A bunch of people did, and they said it was pretty gruesome. It's a really sad thing. A Mighty Heart is a movie. It was actually directed by Angelina Jolie. It's about the Daniel Pearl's kidnap and murder. I did watch that. That's a really good movie. A little slow like most Angelina Jolie's movies, but the point was made. It was a good movie. Born on January 23rd, 1737, John Hancock, American general and politician. He was also the first governor of Massachusetts. He was a prominent patriot of the American Revolution. He served as the president of the Second Continental Congress and was also the third governor of the Commonwealth of Massachusetts. He has an overly large signature on the United States Declaration of Independence. So much so, the term John Hancock has become a thing you say when asking for someone's personal signature. His signature was so big it was like a cry for attention. It's like 3 times the size of all the others on the paper. It's like, hey everyone, look at me. I need attention. I'm John Hancock. Look how big I sign things. I'm great. He's like a Kanye of the revolution. 1944, Rutger Hauer is born. He's a Dutch actor, director, and producer. He was also the killer in the movie The Hitcher in 1986 that scared the crap out of me. He was in a ton better movies, but that one always stuck with me. It was horrible. 1974, Tiffani Tiffani Thiessen. Used to be called Tiffani Amber Thiessen. She's an American actress and cocaine consumer. Apparently she had a serious problem with that Colombian marching powder in the 1990s. At least that's what she said in her book. I wasn't like hanging out with her, checking her drug habits or anything like that, but apparently Tiffani Amber Thiessen, like the devil's dandruff, as Robin Williams used to call it. Died on January 23rd, 1803, Arthur Guinness, Irish brewer and founder of the Guinness Corporation. I celebrate his life every time I find myself at an Irish pub. 1978, Terry Kath, American guitarist and songwriter. This one's sad all the way around. Terry Kath was the lead singer and guitarist for the band Chicago. Not many people remember that they were a serious rock band, and he was one of the greatest American guitarists. Most people only remember Chicago being this easy listening rock band from the 80s and 90s. They were really, that easy listening, soft rock stuff. Jimi Hendrix said about Terry Kath that he was better than he was. He really felt Terry Kath was a better guitarist. He told people that Terry was doing things with a guitar he couldn't even do. Rock author Corbin Reef, I believe his name is, described Terry Kath as one of the most criminally underrated guitarists to have ever set fingers to a fretboard. Terry Kath was playing with a gun on January 23rd, 1978 that he thought was empty. He put the gun to his head and he died instantly. 2005, we lost the legend Johnny Carson, American talk show host, television personality, and producer. He hosted The Tonight Show forever. For all of you young kids, he was the dude in the chair before Jay Leno. And that's what happened on January 23rd. Everybody have a great January 23rd and be nice to each other.